The recent addition of Cuba and Bolivia to the Brics bloc, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, marks a really important moment for both global politics and regional integration in Latin America. This event not only highlights the growing influence of this bloc on the world stage, but it also signals a big expansion of the economic and geopolitical possibilities for both countries, which have historically faced different forms of pressure and exclusion from powerful countries. The integration of these nations isn't an isolated event, but part of a larger movement towards a multipolar world order that values cooperation among equals and economic independence over the dominance of traditional institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. To understand what this incorporation means, it's necessary to look at the historical and political context surrounding both Cuba and Bolivia, as well as the role that the BRICS are playing today. Since its foundation in 2009, the BRICS bloc has been a disruptive force in the international system, challenging the structures dominated by the West and advocating for fair and sustainable development. This approach has been especially appealing to countries in the global South that have faced the limitations of an international financial system that keeps unfair inequalities in place. To Cuba and its historical struggle against the economic blockade, Cuba, a small island nation with a population of about 11 million people, has been under an economic, commercial and financial embargo imposed by the United States since 1960. This blockade, which initially aimed to weaken the revolutionary government led by Fidel Castro, has become a policy widely criticized for its impact on people and its one-sided nature. The embargo not only prohibits American companies from trading with Cuba, but it also punishes other countries and entities that have economic relations with the island, severely limiting its access to international markets, technology, and financing. Despite these hardships, Cuba has shown a remarkable ability to overcome challenges. Its development model, focused on healthcare, education, and international solidarity, has been recognized worldwide, even amidst extremely difficult economic conditions. However, the blockade has had a significant human and social cost, made worse in recent years by the Trump administration, which tightened sanctions by implementing over 240 additional restrictive measures. These actions included putting Cuba on the list of state sponsors of terrorism, a label that further complicates the country's international financial transactions. With Joe Biden becoming president, many hoped for a change in policy towards Cuba, especially after the improved relations promoted by Barack Obama between 2014 and 2016. However, the Biden administration has largely maintained the policies of its predecessor, highlighting the influence of domestic political factors, such as the importance of Cuban-American voters in Florida and pressure from conservative groups in Congress. Bolivia, a nation seeking independent alternatives. Bolivia is a great example of a South American country rich in natural resources, but which has historically faced challenges due to its economic dependence and vulnerability to outside pressures. Under Evo Morales' leadership, Bolivia adopted a policy of nationalizing strategic resources, like gas and lithium, aiming to spread the wealth and reduce inequality. This stance marked a significant shift in the country's economic policy, moving away from the free market ideas promoted by institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. Despite this progress, Bolivia has also experienced periods of political instability, like the 2019 coup that cut short Morales' term and led to an interim government known for aligning with free market policies and getting closer to Western powers. However, Luis Arce's election victory in 2020 marked the return of the movement for socialism to power, reaffirming the country's commitment to independent policies and an inclusive approach to development. In this context, Bolivia's decision to join BRICS strengthens its strategy of economic and political diversification. Joining the bloc offers opportunities to access funding with better terms, participate in infrastructure projects, and benefit from trade with some of the world's fastest-growing markets. The role of BRICS in reshaping the world order. The expansion of BRICS, which now includes countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, reflects the growing importance of this group on the global stage. With the addition of Cuba and Bolivia, the group not only expands its geographical and cultural diversity, but also strengthens its commitment to including nations historically left out of the international system. One of the bloc's main tools is the New Development Bank, an institution created to finance infrastructure projects and sustainable development in member countries and other developing nations. Unlike traditional institutions, the NDB operates on principles of equality, meaning that all members have a say in decisions, regardless of their economic size. This represents a fundamental change in the dynamics of international finance, which has traditionally been controlled by Western powers. In addition, Brics has promoted the use of local currencies in trade between member countries, reducing reliance on the US dollar. This approach not only strengthens local economies, but also protects member countries from the ups and downs associated with changes in US monetary policy. Implications for Latin America and the Patria Grande, Great Homeland. The addition of Cuba and Bolivia to Brics also holds symbolic and practical significance for Latin America, a region that has historically struggled to overcome the barriers imposed by neo-colonialism and economic dependence. Joining the bloc offers a platform to advance the agenda of the Patria Grande, a concept that evokes the vision of unity and solidarity among the Latin American people, championed by figures like Simon Bolivar and José Martí. From a geopolitical perspective, the participation of Latin American countries in Brics strengthens the region's position on the world stage, providing new opportunities for South-South cooperation. This includes developing joint projects in areas like energy, technology, and agriculture, as well as the possibility of collectively addressing global challenges such as climate change and food crises. Challenges and future prospects. Despite the opportunities it offers, membership in Brics also presents challenges. For countries like Cuba and Bolivia, it will be crucial to leverage this platform to diversify their economies, strengthen their production capacities, and ensure that the benefits of integration translate into real improvements for their people. In the case of Cuba, overcoming the barriers imposed by the US embargo will require a combination of domestic and international strategies. Membership in Brics can be a catalyst for mobilizing resources and building partnerships, but it will also be necessary to advance domestic economic reforms that allow them to take full advantage of the new opportunities. On the other hand, Bolivia will need to balance its focus on economic independence with the need to attract foreign investment and diversify its exports. Its wealth in natural resources, such as lithium, represents a strategic advantage, but it also poses risks if not managed properly. Conclusion. The inclusion of Cuba and Bolivia in Brics symbolizes a transformative moment in global and regional politics. This step not only strengthens the bloc as a key player on the world stage, but also offers new hope for countries in the global south seeking alternatives to an international system characterized by inequality and exclusion. Ultimately, the true measure of success for this integration will be its ability to promote inclusive and sustainable development, reaffirming the principles of sovereignty and cooperation that define the vision of Brics.